Are you looking for a date, a girlfriend, a wife, someone that'll ask for directions when you don't have service? If you said yes to any of those, this video is for you. Last year we did a video about which states have the most men, and today we're looking at the other side of that coin and finding out which states have the most ladies. The difference between the sexes in any location is never really off by more than a few percentage points. It's always around 50-50. Unless of course you're in Alaska, where it's around 40-60 with far too many men. Not many ladies fall in love with the last frontier. There have been events that have changed those numbers in our history. World War II and Vietnam. All the men went off to war and the percentage points went all out of whack. One other event happened a few years back. More women moved to Washington State than men when those Twilight movies came out. I'm not even joking. Movies affect where people move to. Saturday Night Fever back in the 1970s, that made the population of New York City jump a little bit. And I imagine here in Portland, Oregon, when Hobo with a Shotgun came out in 2011, we lost some people. But today we look at the states that have more women than men, and as a bonus feature, I'm going to add the city that has the most single ladies over the age of 20 in each state. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, California. Yep, this is where you will find all those California girls the Beach Boys sang about ad nauseum. Yes, almost every single song was about California girls, and only one of them had the title California Girls. According to the United States Census Community Survey back in 2008, the number was a lot different, but in 2020, California's population was 50.3% women. That's not off by much, but it's a little bit of a difference. I had this class in college on cultural geography, and the guy brought up whenever it's a location, anything, a town, a state, a city, whatever, when it's usually a 5 percentage point difference, weird things start happening. Divorce rates go up. You have more occurrences of like infidelity and love triangles, which sometimes lead to someone getting killed. Humans are weird. If you want to find the most single women over the age of 20 in California, you got to head down to San Diego, where 74% of them fall into that demographic. And that's just one more reason you should move to San Diego. Honestly, California's got a lot of problems, like I've said before in many videos. San Diego is so much different. It is a great city. This is just another feather in its cap. Number 9, Texas. Texas, this one doesn't shock me at all. Years ago, I read that Houston was the absolute worst. It was like there was far too many women and not enough men. To the point where women would always say, don't move your husband to Houston, because you won't have your husband long. Like Chris Rock said, men are only as faithful as their options. Like California, Texas has the same percentage point. 50.3% of the state's population are women. Not a lot, but it's a difference. Where you will find the most single ladies over the age of 20 is Laredo, Texas. 72% of them fall into that category. Number 8, Florida. Now this one kind of surprised me a little bit because you always hear those stories about Florida man. You just get this image that the whole state is just filled with dudes. When I go visit Florida, I'm usually down in the Miami area, maybe Orlando or Tampa. My biological father used to live in Ocala, and I'd go there, but that was about it. That was years ago when I was like 20, 21. So I just always imagine the inner part of Florida is just nothing but dudes and mullets doing stupid stuff like walking an alligator to the local liquor store. But if you're looking for your female soulmate, Florida may be the state for you, where 51% of the population is female. And if you're looking for a single female, head to Miami, where 72% of the women over the age of 20 are single. Number 7, North Carolina. North Carolina is really putting some effort into growing their female population, it seems. Back in the 2010 census, 50.6% of North Carolina's population was female. And in the 2020 census, 51.3% of the population of North Carolina was female. So they're definitely growing their female population. I make it sound like they're planting crops. No, it's just happening that way. Your best chances of finding a single lady over the age of 20 is in Asheville, where 71% of that population is over the age of 20, female and single. Number 6, Massachusetts. Here's an interesting piece of trivia. It is estimated because of the Revolutionary War, the population of Boston at one point was around 80% women and children under the age of 12. Currently, about 51.5% of Massachusetts population is female, and in Boston, 75% of the women over the age of 20 are single. That's a lot. Number 5, Mississippi. I'm not sure if Mississippi's going to be on this list when, I don't know, if we do it again in like 2030. I've seen different reports and different articles or blog posts about how young women are choosing to move out of state as soon as they turn 18, especially if they go to college. They're not staying in Mississippi. And this is a higher rate than they've ever seen before. Around 51.5% of Mississippi's population is female. And in the great city of Hattiesburg, 72% of the women over the age of 20 are single. Number 4, Georgia. If it wasn't for the U.S. military, I'm sure Georgia would have a lot more women than they have right now. Georgia has more military bases than just about any state. And in case you don't know, the U.S. Army is made up of 81.6% men. The Marine Corps is 90% men, the Air Force is 77% men, and of course the Navy is 79% male. Georgia has 3 good-sized Army installations, 3 or 4 Air Force bases, and a sprinkling of reserve units. So they got a lot of men. But the state of Georgia still has more women to the tune of 51.7% of the population is female. And if you head down to Atlanta, you will find 72.1% of the women there are over the age of 20 and single. Number 3, Maryland. I guess Maryland's a pretty good place to be a woman. They rank number 2 in the country for the most single female homeowners. Almost 14% of the homeowners are single women, only about 9% are single men. Maryland is also the 6th best state to meet single women. And according to WalletHub, they're ranked number 10th in the nation for dating opportunities. 51.9% of the residents of Maryland are women. And in Baltimore, you will find that 73.7% of the women over 20 are single. Number 2, South Carolina. South Carolina's got a lot of women, and they are severely underrepresented in the state government. Yeah, I read a whole article about it. South Carolina ranks 49th in the country for female representation in state government and lost the last seat held by a woman on its Supreme Court in February of 2023. She didn't get voted out. She got to her mandatory retirement age and she had to walk away. When you look at the demographics of South Carolina, you'll see that 53.9% of the population is female. If you head down to Charleston, you will find out that 74% of women over the age of 20 are single. All right, before we get to number 1, if you're thinking about moving to another state, there's a link for Home and Money in the description area below. They can get you in touch with a real estate agent anywhere in the country. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Rhode Island. I am glad Rhode Island has a high percentage of women. We can finally talk about the ocean state on a list. We never talk about them. Maybe it's because they're small. Maybe it's because they're lucky number 13. Who knows? They are the 13th state. Did you know that? Rhode Island is the 5th best state when it comes to dating opportunities. But WalletHub ranks them 34th for romance and fun. Yes, it's a category. Kentucky actually beat Rhode Island for romance and fun. What's romance in Kentucky like? When you're done feeding the hogs, why don't you meet me on the back porch? Now, don't worry, you can shower after. 54.2% of Rhode Island's population is female. And if you want to find the single ladies, you got to head on down to Newport, where 72% of the women over 20 are single. It's probably all that lack of romance and fun. The women are all, I'll just be single. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.